Governor William Oduol by impeachment pursuant to Article 18(1) AC and Article 75 of the Constitution of Kenya, 2010, Section 33 of the County Government Act 2012, and the Standing Order 72 of the County Assembly of Siaya Standing Orders.
Yes, the mover, Honorable Kukodo Nanguru, member for Mr. Sambo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to move a motion on removal from office of the Siaya County Deputy Governor William Oduol by impeachment pursuant to Article 81(1) A and C and Article 75 of the Constitution of Kenya 2010, Section 32 of the County Government Act 2012, and the Standing Order 72 of the County Assembly of Siaya Standing Orders. Mr. Speaker, sir, in consideration of the provision of Article 73(1)A, Roman 3 and 4 of the Constitution of Kenya 2010, hereby as the Constitution insofar as it connotes the manner in which state officer is expected to exercise assigned authority. Mr. Speaker, whereas Article 71(1) of the Constitution obligates a state officer to behave in all sense in a manner that devoid of compromising public or official interest in favor of personal interest. Mr. Speaker, sir, aware that a state officer, having taken and subscribed to oath of office pursuant to Article 74 of the Constitution, is duty-bound to adhere to the values and principles of public service as espoused in the Article 232 of the Constitution, most importantly, practice of equitable provision of services. Mr. Speaker, hitherto the County Assembly of Siaya having been signaled by the public utterances and allegation of the Deputy Governor to the effect that there were misgivings, elements of moribund leadership, misappropriation of public funds, biasness in the budget allocation, among other deposition, the Assembly being fully appraised of the importance of provision of Article 72(2)D of the Constitution, which requires all state officers to be accountable to the public for their decision, action, and by implications, public utterances. Mr. Speaker, sir, the Assembly, in exercising its constitutional mandate of being bestowed with the power to summon any person to appear before it for purposes of giving evidence or providing information in line with Article 195 of the Constitution, resolved to invite the Deputy Governor to shed light into the import of his public proclamations about the administration in which he serves. Mr. Speaker, sir, further aware of the significance of provision of Section 29 of the Leadership and Integrity Act 2012, which prohibits an officer from unknowingly giving false information to any person. Section 30 of Leadership and Integrity Act 2012, which prohibits a state officer from falsifying records or misrepresenting information, and Section 27(3)G of the County Assembly's Powers and Privileges Act 2017, which classifies willful furnishing of a county assembly or a committee with information which is false or misleading, or making a statement before a county assembly or a committee that is false or misleading as an offense. Mr. Speaker, sir, noting that the Deputy Governor William Oduol submitted to the County Assembly together with associated alleged evidence, presumably to the best of his knowledge and ability. Mr. Speaker, concerned that the analysis of the information provided by the Deputy Governor, his actions prior and subsequent to providing the information, observed misdemeanor in the manner in which he runs the affairs of the office of the Siaya County Deputy Governor. that goes against the grains of several provisions of the Constitution of Kenya 2010, the County Government Act 2012, Leadership and Integrity Act 2012, Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Act 2015, Anti-Corruption and Economic Crimes Act 2016, County Assembly Powers and Privilege Act 2017, and the Public Officers Ethics Act 2009. Mr. Speaker, this Assembly resolved to impeach the Siaya County Deputy Governor, William Oduol, under Section 32 of the County Government Act 2012 and Standing Orders 71 and 72 on the following grounds. 1. Gross violation of Constitution and other laws. And 1. Under it, interference with procurement processes through act of bid rigging. Mr. Speaker, the Deputy Governor, William Oduol, interfered with the procurement of contracts for various road projects in the county, and that of supply and delivery of certified seed and fertilizer, contrary to the provisions of Section 47(1) of the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Act 2015, which states that a procurement function shall be handled by procurement professionals whose qualifications are recognized in Kenya. Mr. Speaker, B, the Deputy Governor coerced the head of County Procurement Unit to give him raw evaluation report for the tender on supply and delivery of certified seeds and fertilizer, together with an unsigned professional opinion, despite being on dangers of exposing such document for a procurement process which had not yet resulted in final selection and award of tender. Mr. Speaker, sir, C, the Deputy Governor William Oduol, unjustifiably relying on the authority of the Office of the Deputy Governor, caused to be changed by coercion certain specification in 86 tender documents for roads construction. Mr. Speaker, sir, D, by engaging in actions explained herein, Mr. William Oduol, being not a procurement professional with the qualification recognized in Kenya, acted ultra-vires to the provision of procurement laws. The second ground for removal is abuse of office and gross misconduct. Mr. Speaker, 1 is bulldozing officers to renovate the office of the Deputy Governor outside the approved budgetary provisions. Mr. Speaker, sir, the Deputy Governor, banking on the authority of his office, forced incurring of expenses approximately Kenya shillings 18 million for purposes of renovating his office, interior and exterior work, purchase of furniture and office equipment, and an expenditure that was not in the budget and therefore not in the procurement plan. Mr. Speaker, sir, this was in contravention of Section 53(2) of the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Act 2015 that states that accounting officers shall prepare an annual procurement plan which is realistic in a format set out in the regulation within the provided budget prior to commencement of each financial year as part of the annual budget preparation process. Further, Section 53(3) of the same Act states that any public officer who knowingly recommends to the accounting officer excessive procurement of items beyond a reasonable consumption of the procuring entity commits an offense under this Act. Mr. Speaker, sir, this action of the Deputy Governor of forcing unbudgeted for expenditure contravene the canons of procurement requirement. Mr. Speaker, sir, 2, misuse of public resources. A, Mr. Speaker, sir, it is on record that on November 2022, a Deputy Governor, Mr. William Oduol, while attending East Park meeting Sarova White Sands Hotel in Mombasa, in his personal capacity, and not in his official capacity as the deputy governor, caused the county department of government and administration to facilitate him and 3 other officers whose relevance to ISPAC meeting could not be confirmed, as they were not members of the ISPAC, and apart from the driver whose roles were undoubtedly essential, this was contrary to the provision of Section 46 of the Anti-Corruption and Ethics Economic Crimes Act 2003, which states that a person who uses his office to improperly confer a benefit on himself or anyone else is guilty of an offense. B. Mr. Speaker, the deputy governor used his office to confer benefits to the officers to attend a function that was irrelevant to them. Roman 3 on the same ground is bullying. Mr. Speaker, sir, in his effort to coerce the county director of public, Mr. Speaker, sir, in his effort to coerce the county director of supply chain management, Mr. Martin Okwata, to bend to his whims and change specifications in certain tenders, the Deputy Governor William Oduol threatened the director and promised him a harsh working environment in the coming future, apparently in reference to the director's adamancy to give him tender documents. B. Mr. Speaker, it is also on record that the Deputy Governor demanded constant briefings from the Director Supply Chain Management directly on matters procurement, despite Director not being answerable to him as per the structures of the county government service. 3. Mr. Speaker, the Deputy Governor demanded constant and repeated briefings not only on matters procurement, but also on matters finance. It was on record that he was constantly and persistently demanding information on county financial transactions directly from the acting chief officer for finance and economic planning, Mr. Jaco Dinga, despite the fact that Mr. Jaco Dinga was not directly answerable to him or in his duties, and fact that Mr. Ding, in his duty and responsibility, this repeated behavior humiliated Mr. Dinga. Mr. Speaker, sir, it was peculiar noted that Deputy Governor William Oduol only demanded direct and constant briefing from Finance and Procurement Department only, not from any other department, in which are equally important to service provision to the residents of Siaya. Mr. Speaker, sir, D. The actions of the deputy of threatening and persistently demanding information from the officer who are not directly answerable to him was akin to the provisions of Section 34 of Leadership and Integrity Act 2012 that states that a state officer shall not bully any person. 2. For purposes of subsection 1, bullying includes repeated offensive misbehavior which is vindictive, cruel, malicious, humiliating, and is intended to undermine the person. Roman 4, misleading the public by giving false information. Mr. Speaker, sir, moral and ethical requirements of any state officer dictates that he or she must always accurately and honestly represent information to the public. Section 29 of Leadership and Integrity Act 2012 states that a state officer shall not knowingly give false or misleading information to any person. Mr. Speaker, sir, Section 27(2)(d) of the County Assembly's Powers and Privilege Act 2017 classifies an offense, actions of such, those which resulted into giving false information or evidence before him as an assembly committee. Mr. Speaker, Section 27(2)(f) of the same act further states that a person commits an offense when the person willfully furnish a county assembly or a committee with information which is false or misleading, or makes statement before a county assembly or a committee that is false and misleading. Mr. Speaker, sir, it is on record that the Deputy Governor William Oduol misled the county assembly and has continuously been misleading members of the public on the following instances. A. Mr. Speaker, sir, the Deputy Governor misled the members of the public that funds allocated towards completion of Siaya Stadium had been relocated in the Supplementary Budget 1 for the financial year 2022-2023. However, it was confirmed that the allocation had been enhanced and not removed as the Deputy Governor claimed. B. Mr. Speaker, sir, the Deputy Governor misled members of the public and the House that there was discriminatory budgetary allocation to disadvantaged residents of Alego Songa constituency. It was later confirmed that Alego Songa is the highest beneficiary of development funding in the Supplementary Budget 1 for the financial year 2022-2023. Mr. Speaker, sir, the Deputy Governor misled the County Assembly and members of the public that the County Secretary, Mr. Joseph Ogutu, was forced to resign by the Governor, information that was denied by the County Secretary. Mr. Speaker, sir, the Deputy Governor misled the County Assembly and members of the public that the county bursary allocation in Siaya is riddled with corruption, that school health teachers who are critical and stakeholders in the determination of the needy cases are left out during the vetting process. The assertion is invalidated by statement of the CEC member for education. Mr. Speaker, sir, the Deputy Governor, William Oduol, misled the County Assembly and members of the public that Mr. Austin Otieno was a political affairs officer in the county public service, that he had been interdicted without being given an opportunity to show cause why disciplinary action could not be taken against him. Investigation revealed that Mr. Otieno was not appointed to the county government as political affairs officer, but as a social welfare officer. And further, Mr. Otieno was procedurally asked to show cause why disciplinary action would not be taken against him. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, sir, having gone through this allegation which I've tabled before this House, the members of this House are honorable members mandated by Constitution to oversight and gather information and protect the resources allocated to the county government of Siaya on behalf of the general public. Mr. Speaker, this House stands ridiculed by the utterances of the Deputy Governor. Every time he has accused this House of not doing the job which the people or the electorate of Siaya County from the 30 wards elected them to do. Honorable Speaker, we have been threatened, and several times the process which we have undertaken and the motion which I brought before this honorable House has been laughed at. And severally we have heard the Deputy Speaker saying, the Deputy Governor, claiming that our impeachment process is inconsequential. That is sure that whether we impeach him today or tomorrow, the impeachment process will not see the light of the day because it's sure he has friends in the Senate. Mr. Speaker, for me, we don't care what happens after this House takes a step forward. We know he might go and gather his friends from the political divide to save him. But the same Constitution allows us to remove him every 6 months. So he can go and be saved there, but for us, he will no longer be the Deputy Governor. We'll wait for 6 months to remove him again. I urge my colleague to start our authority and allow him go and be saved by his friends from the political divide. We have a duty and the Constitution allows us to do it. Mr. Oduol has given himself a role of an oversight. How I wish he would resign as a Deputy Governor and face my colleague Felix Judy of West Alego and see if he can muscle votes from West Alego to be a representative and be a member of the County Assembly so that he can oversight the executive. It's laughable. You all know the popularity and the political glory of the deputy governor died in 2017. And if somebody forget that or he forget, he can recheck the vote he marshaled during the ODM nomination for the gubernatorial seat in 2017. I think it was very far. So I have to take this opportunity to ask my colleagues that we have a house, we have a name. Our name has been spoiled out there for reasons of falsehood and misinformation, that we are paid to take action as an assembly. Let us do what is honorable. And I request my brother and a friend and a colleague from East Game to support.
Listen carefully from my colleague, Honorable Oduol, and I tend to agree that's the verdict of the majority. One thing I want to say before I give my comment is that, Mr. Speaker, reputation is very important. It's very painful when somebody can claim that some honorable members in this House have been paid or who are paid to do anything. Because I stand here before this honorable House and before the mighty God, I have not received even a single cent. And it pains me when somebody can claim that me being part of the assembly, I was given 300,000 shillings. Mr. Speaker, how I wish the person who gave out this information can vividly come out and prove who and who were given money and for which purpose. But for the sake of decorum, for the sake of respect, people must respect this House. Therefore, I beg to second. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Well, I will be supporting this motion. I want to support it on a very open and balanced environment on very few grounds. I think that those few grounds alone will be enough for us to move forward. Mr. Speaker, a lot has been said. We are not in the executive world. As Assembly, I pray that we move forward very objective and very balanced to ensure justice is served. Either way, Mr. Speaker, a lot has been said. When you look at our grounds and the report was outside there, I've had an opportunity to listen to the Deputy Governor speak outside there and still making some comments about those reports and some of these allegations. And Mr. Speaker, I want to say that I think the decision for Honorable Nguru to bring this motion was timely, that now the Deputy Governor has the full time to try to now convince the House, because we still have about 2 or 3 steps. And if this is made in full glare of the whole public and the whole Siaya, all the 4th estates are invited, and that he will be given an opportunity to tell us each issue as raised in front and in full glare of the whole Siaya, we will get to a very conclusive and a very good decision. So, Mr. Speaker, I still believe that the impeachment motion is a motion subject to a process, and like I hear in some other media, it was misquoted that possibly a decision on the report was, on the formal report was given without giving our media an opportunity to respond. Mr. Speaker, this is the best opportunity that the issues raised from ad hoc, this other advanced states of processing this will give the Deputy Governor very straight opportunity to tell the people what it's all about. And Mr. Speaker, by that alone, then I will request this House that possibly we adopt this report and we don't even need to discuss much about it. And many other issues are going to come up when this when the DG has been invited to present his case, when the other witnesses who are at claim here will have been invited to speak, and everybody else to express themselves openly for a public court and for the process of the assembly. Thank you. And therefore, I request that our House is just for the purposes of integrity of the process.
Honorable, I therefore put the question, which is that whereas pursuant to Article 181 of the Constitution of Kenya 2010 and Section 33 of the County Government Act 2012 and Standing Orders 71, 72 of the County Assembly of Siaya Standing Orders, on the 29th of May 2023, the County Assembly approved a motion to remove from office by impeachment the Deputy Governor of Siaya County, Mr. William Oduol, and whereas pursuant to Section 33, 9A of the County Government Act 2012 and Standing Orders 71, 7, the Assembly by resolution shall appoint a special committee comprising a third of its members to investigate the matter. Now, therefore, pursuant to Section 33, 9A of the County Government Act 2012 and Standing Orders 71, 7, and 72, the Assembly resolves to establish a special committee on the removal of the Siaya County Deputy Governor William Oduol from office, comprising the following members: Honorable members, William Ocheto, Rica, Lumonde, Frederick Omoro, Benedict Dallas, and Kakini, Seth Baraka, Silas Mandingo, Eunice Achieng, John Kodo, Lumunga, Justice Obuta, Julie Okello, Michael Otieno. The special committee shall investigate and report on all the grounds upon which the proposed motion has been relied upon, and pursuant to Standing Order number 71-7, report to the Assembly within 10 days of its appointment on whether or not it finds the particulars of the allegation against the Deputy Governor to have been substantiated. Will as many of that opinion say aye? Aye. And will as many of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Kamu kuat job ni, important.
Honorable Arunda Wilfrida. Honorable Obuya Justice.
Is both a benefit and a confrontation. No, he did say he said another was I rise to support. Mr. Speaker, for three obvious reasons. Mr. Speaker, the
Siaya County Climate Change Act 2021. Further aware that the county government of Siaya is a beneficiary of financing Section 15 of the Siaya County Climate Change Act 2021 provides for the establishment of and composition of Ward 5.
next order.
Order number 2, communication from the chair.
The Secretary can President allow us just to start the process. So, clerk.